Yo, what is going on, my brothers? Man, oh man, this week's chapter of JJK was amazing, and the fight was just so good with all the detail put in the battle. It was just like, it blew me away. I really like the way GG makes the fights in JJK so open to options, and this battle was more around even territory as both Reggie and Megumi are in this kind of power struggle, and the way everything went in this fight from beginning to end fills me with overwhelming joy seeing how well these Sorcerer battles can actually go. And I also like how some of my previous ideas made it into this chapter in some capacity, with us getting to see really wild and artistic panels drawn in Megumi's domain and just the chapter art in general. But with all that out of the way, let's look at chapter 172, Tokyo Number Colony Part 12. The chapter starts off giving us some info on how much pressure and force humans normally could take, saying around 5 to 6 G's of force is enough to make us lose consciousness, but now Megumi is taking on 2.4 tons of weight, which is around 40 G's of force he's enduring right now. And in order not to let these G's and pressure overtake Megumi's nervous system, Fushiguro lowered his center of mass and reinforced his body with cursed energy, focusing on his lower half. And in Reggie's situation, due to Megumi gaining and skyrocketing his cursed energy control, the max elephant that he dropped on him is not just any sort of loose shadow, but it mimics the true weight of a real African elephant, which could be a easy 3 to 6 tons that Reggie is now taking on and enduring. Reggie has now fractured his fibula and his heel trying to squat all that weight under pressure, and in this situation it turned into like a weight bearing match of endurance to see and actually right now either of them could be crushed under load. Reggie is now rethinking his whole plan now that he has been turned into this unfavorable matchup, and is debating whether to use his special trump card weight on Megumi and let himself sink into the shadow, which could make him safe, but due to all the unknowns about the shadow, like could he breathe in there, will he be trapped under there, and so on, Reggie decides to pull out his card right now, but it is too late as he cannot finish his summon with his technique and him getting pushed into the shadow now. He is sinking fast now with no oxygen, and there is no way out. And it's really actually a pretty scary situation when you think about being stuck in Megumi's shadow, just sinking with no real way to get a hold of yourself, and just how deadly it is. But there still isn't any time to relax for Megumi, as he has to make sure Reggie suffocates and is dead before releasing his technique and whatever is in his shadow. But Reggie comes back just in time using one of his cards that he summoned with his technique, and makes it so that, and his actual technique makes it so that whenever he gives objects orders, they automatically disappear after they're used. But he didn't give any of his cards that he used and that he spawned out previously, he didn't give them any orders, so they lingered on until now. So he lost one card, but that card saved him and gave him a chance to use his actual trump card. This man Reggie used contract object reproduction to summon a whole freaking building into the domain. To be more accurate, he summoned a standard 2-story wooden house, foundation, framework, and all, dropping it into this space. Reggie mentioned that it weighed well over 30 tons, and I would surmise that is a bit too heavy for our boy Fushiguro to handle. But we switch to a different panel where the scenery and everything changes, where Reggie seemed to be pulled into the shadow, but he was actually in literal water, forced out under the gym from above into a pool under the domain, where Megumi escaped with Reggie chokeholding him, forcing him to release his technique, or he would eventually be pulled down and drowned by Megumi's weight. At this point, this is where Megumi now understands Reggie's ability a little bit better, knowing that Reggie's power is basically useless when the receipts are wet because of the condition for summoning. He needs to burn the receipts, and he can no longer fulfill that contract when the paper is wet. So this battle has now been more simplified and toned down to a much simpler matter, with no side having a clear advantage and both sides exhausting massive amounts of energy. The battle has turned into a 1v1 fist fight. Reggie is still confident in his ability, engaging Fushiguro and striking him with excellent cursed energy control and combat prowess. Reggie has the idea that Megumi would try and rely on any Shikigami besides Divine Dog, which would be the real threat, and he counted on that plan and planned on killing Megumi when he shows that moment of weakness. And he was doing really well. However, right as Reggie thought he was on to something, he got immediately nashed and sliced in a deep gouge on his upper torso or his shoulder. It seems fatal to me, but fast by something. And as it turns out, Divine Dog totality was actually in play the entire time and was never taken out by Reggie's knives back in chapter 167. So Megumi was already a step ahead the whole battle through, and the chapter stated the hidden hand wins a Jujutsu battle, and Reggie's words being, "It comes down to a sorcerer's lies," and the chapter ends with Reggie on his deathbed. So Megumi was absolutely brilliant this chapter, and you really have to give the real MVP his credit. Best boy Divine Doggo for slicing out Reggie's upper torso, possibly ripping out his heart and his left lung, making Reggie bleed out to death. But what a good boy he is. But for real, I think this could definitely be the end of Reggie if Reggie doesn't have anything like reverse curse, like Hazanoki or anything like that, because Megumi has already made his choice, his decision. He already crossed that path or that line beyond killing. So this is very dark, but it's also extremely cool to see how deadly and how dangerous Megumi in his ability can be. And just look how menacing Totality looks. He just looks like a straight up beast as it holds onto Reggie's flesh, and I would not like to be on Megumi's bad side, and it looks like Fushiguro just does not care anymore. But this chapter was really amazing, how they broke down the process in this sorcerer battle, from Megumi trying to maintain his space and hold his ground, from Reggie struggling to deal with Megumi and this unnatural space that exists, and him using his smarts to figure out how to force Megumi to release his domain and put this position more into a favorable position. And just from beginning to end, this fight was truly, I mean, it was a true sorcerer on sorcerer battle in its purest form. Reggie was an insanely difficult and smart and efficient opponent to deal with, using his curse techniques and his lies, from revealing one's hand to get the jump on Megumi and really be a thorn in his side the whole battle, even to the point where Megumi used a whole domain expansion, although incomplete, to still end the battle. Reggie still had more cards to show, and now finally, with all this fight fleshed out, Megumi comes out on top, surprising Reggie with a hidden hand right under Reggie's nose the whole time. It was really perfect. I mean, it is just amazing to see the way the environment was used, and the flow of this sorcerer battle was impeccable with the way Megumi fights. No doubt this was the biggest fight highlight so far in this arc, and from here on up there is nowhere else to go but up. I think this chapter is the end, of course, the end of this battle, or the end of the part 1 or Tokyo number 1 part colony chapter section, at least the fight aspect. But I'm excited to see Yuji and Megumi meet back up when they do come back together to handle the games. And I actually really this chapter, I really expected Megumi to perform Black Flash today. I don't know, I was really looking forward to see that potential. Now that we know his potential risen because of domain, I was really hoping to see Black Flash, but we will get there to see if he can do domain. He could definitely do Black Flash. That's not too far off. That's how I feel. But I really look forward to seeing Yuji and Megumi's interaction when they do meet up, and how their relationship goes, because their sides are a bit different of how their outcomes were. Like Yuji handled and had to settle things with Haguruma, which did go well, but in Megumi's side, really things have gone to crap, and he had to deal with a heap of crazy crackhead people and the pressure to kill and so on from that. But we'll have to see what goes on from here, but it is super cool to see. But that's it for this chapter, guys. The Culling game is progressing really nicely. I like it a whole lot. I really want to know, I do want to know how things are going in other colonies, especially like Hakari's side of things and Panda and the other ancient sorcerers, because I think both the Angel and Hajime are in the same colony, and who knows what insanity is going on there. And my mind keeps going back to like seeing in chapter 160 that one panel with Kenjaku and Sasaki. I think I said her name right, but just that craziness, like the pure chaos that is going on right now, and who knows who's behind the scenes. It's just a whole lot of fun to think about. Tell me what you guys think, and what you guys think about this chapter in particular. Please remember to like, subscribe, and to share this video for more content like this. But thank you all so much for watching this video, and your input and everything is appreciated. But this has been Enemy Stand User, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.